Okay, so here's what an oil pump looks like in the front of a crankshaft, right? You remember when we did the engines, you saw a Corvette Grand Sport, and they talked about having to extend the crankshaft for the oil pump. This is what the oil pump looks like, right? This is called a gerotor. Gerotor. Say it, gerotor. Oil pump, driven by the crankshaft under the front timing cover. All oil pumps are positive displacement pumps. What goes in comes out, right? It's a 1-for-1. Oil pumps are the only component that get unfiltered oil, and that's why oil pumps tend to wear out over time. Oil is pumped from the oil pan through the filter before it goes to the rest of the engine. The filter is made from either closely packed cloth fibers or porous paper. Large particles are trapped in the filter, while microscopic ones are allowed to flow through because they're so small they don't touch anything. And here's a cutaway of what it looks like inside an oil filter. Now, naturally, cheap filters don't have as much material in there, and really good filters have a lot. The ones that I buy for the Mini, I generally am buying Fram, but when I buy the ones from BMW, there's got to be twice as much material inside those oil filters. They're like a wrinkle surface, more contact area. The more area, the more cleaning they can do. And this is the last thing. So a lot of filters have a bypass. The filter has this little chamber that oil can get around it. And that is so if that filter gets clogged up, that oil can get out rather than clogging up, blocking it up, and depriving the engine of oil. I remember seeing a Dodge van that I had come into me, and the oil filter was twice as big because that system got plugged, and it actually boofed the whole oil filter out, and it was gigantic. One other thing that you should know, and it talks about it down here, is the diaphragm that's an anti-drain back valve. When you look in an oil filter, you'll see this other little color through these little holes, and that's so the oil doesn't come back out. If you have like a Toyota that the filter comes down from the top, right? If you were to lift that out, all the oil would blug out of that oil filter and spill all over the place. But that traps it inside. Same thing with cars that have it, right? If all the oil came out of the oil filter would be empty when the car started up, and the car would run with no oil pressure. So a lot of filters have this drain back valve. That's also a product of a good filter versus a bad filter. Cheap filters may not have that extra little piece in there where a good quality one does. Right? So I hope you learned a little something here, and when you go and buy your oil, you think a little bit differently when you go further. And look on Canvas for all the assignments that I'm giving you this week. Also, I want to let you know that I opened up everything. So anything that you didn't get done before, you can do it now. It'll get a little reduction because of it being late, but I took the thing that closed the assignments and I shut it off. So you can still submit that stuff. I'd rather you learn and get the information. Okay, talk to you soon.